But first, a live look for you here at Capitol Hill, and that is where Special Counsel John Durham will testify before the House Judiciary Committee in about a month from now. Hello, I'm John Bachman.
Hi, everybody. I'm Bianca De La Garza. Great to have you in with us this Friday. That's right. The hearing will be held on June 21st. It will be in front of the House Judiciary Committee, so open to the public. And Congressman Troy Nehls, a member of that committee, tweeted that update a short time ago.
All right, Durham will answer questions about his 300-page report, which confirmed corruption and collusion at the highest levels of the federal government. And the FBI's Crossfire Hurricane investigation was a big hoax designed to take down Donald Trump ahead of the 2016 presidential election. And joining us now, former California Congressman and Truth Social CEO Devin Nunes. Great to see you, Congressman.
Hey, good morning. It's great to be with you guys.
So, we've heard so much about Durham, about the Durham report. We have the 300-page report. Some disappointment, some people disappointed with the outcomes of that. But what do you expect to hear from him when he testifies before Congress?
Well, it'll be interesting, and I think I'd focus on not what Durham found, because I think what he found, he did an excellent job. It's on what he didn't find and where he didn't look. It's almost inexplainable why he wouldn't have brought in all the bad actors. We could go through the names, but I think most people know them. They weren't brought in. They weren't even brought in for a deposition. And that's very, very rare and very odd. And I think there's got to be a reason for that. Secondly, there was a lot that occurred in early 2016 with the FBI and DOJ running around all over the world, including in the UK. And none of that was gotten to the bottom of either. So I think Durham deserves, for what he was allowed to look at, he did a very good, thorough job. Obviously, I think he was frustrated, probably bringing what normally would be if you were a Republican and you were indicted on the same charges in Washington, D.C., like the two indictments that Durham brought. You'd be convicted in a matter of minutes. Both people skated. I don't know if that had something to do with Durham's decision, but it'll be, look, it's the biggest scandal in American history. And it really sets the tone for what the future holds, which is that you have a totally corrupt institution in the Department of Justice.
Yeah, obviously a much anticipated hearing, and the fact that it will be a closed-door hearing the day before, but then this. So there will be, some quality time here, you could say, with Durham and the committee here. Let's pivot a little bit. I want to get your reaction because, as you just mentioned, Durham report, bombshell, biggest corruption possibly in the history here. Yet they're still talking about these boxes at Mar-a-Lago. Washington Post reports saying that Trump workers moved the boxes the day before the FBI came. They cite anonymous sources. Always convenient, Devin, who alleged there was even a dress rehearsal for moving sensitive papers. I want you to react to that. But also, Trump has been slamming this double standard. And even on Truth Social, he wrote, I always felt he believed you don't go after presidents, VPs. I was, I understood that. I was sort of okay with it. But Biden thugs want to indict me for nothing. And a good majority of the American public believes just that, Devin.
Yeah, look, I think all these scandals are basically one big one. So, because what it is, forget everybody calls it the Russia hoax, which it is, but what it really is it's the decay of really the norms and institutions of our justice system, both from DOJ to FBI to the courts. And when you back up from that, if you look at everything that's happened since then, whether it's the censoring of the Hunter Biden laptop or specifically now to this document hoax raid, remember why this was done. And I've said this now over and over, and I think people don't understand, why did they raid Mar-a-Lago? It was done for one reason and one reason only, which wasn't any different than hiding the Hunter Biden laptop or using DOJ to target Trump and Trump associates in 16 and 17. It was done because in August of 2022, just less than a year ago, because Donald Trump is the only one that can raise money for the National Republican Congressional Committee, the Republican National Committee, the National Senate Committee for the Republicans. He's the fundraiser, the only fundraiser. So their gambit was to take Trump off the battlefield, make him toxic before the 2022 election. Now, thankfully, the American people said, no way, absolutely not. This is uncalled for. It's corruption at the highest level. So you had essentially half of America who said, we're not going to stand for this. And Donald Trump's popularity has risen since then. But to your point on what's being leaked out once again. So once again, these are illegal leaks leaking from DOJ if they're true, of supposedly moving boxes around. But on the whole face of this, nobody, any normal person, I dealt with national secrets for 2 decades, and nobody believes any of this because the president ultimately is the ultimate declassification. He holds that authority. Donald Trump wasn't running around the White House right before he left the day and loading boxes into a truck. That's all handled by government employees. Now, I don't know all the specifics of the case, but I know this. It's preposterous to think that Donald Trump was taking documents to what? Sell to the Russians? Are we back to that story? Or maybe, do something dirty in Ukraine?
Well, the rumor was that he was sharing nuclear secrets or something like that.
There was a napkin of something.
But something else we wanted to ask you about, and that's journalist Matt Taibbi. He was on with Greta Van Susteren last night. And Devin, you were very intimately involved in the Lois Lerner IRS scandal. The big scandal you talk about, which is this has continued under Biden, a lot of the same people that were in the Obama administration, the weaponization, the politicization of these federal bureaucracies. Here's Matt Taibbi talking about what happened to him with the IRS after he came forward to talk about his story and how he was being targeted. Here he is.
When I came back from testifying on the Hill on March 9th, I found out that an agent had come to my home. I thought, there's no way this is related. That's too silly. But I told the committee because I thought they had a right to know. And now that we have some answers about it, it definitely seems suspicious. I don't know what to think. I can't see an innocent explanation for it.
So, 5% of the country gets audited by the IRS. And after Matt Taibbi testifies before Congress about the suppression of the Hunter Biden laptop story, we're supposed to think it's random that he gets picked?
Yeah, so what's more important now is to look at the timing of it. It wasn't just that they raided him that day. It's also that they opened the investigation the day that he published what? The Twitter files. Elon Musk chose him to go through the Twitter files. It was released just a few days before Christmas. And that's the very time that they opened the investigation. Now, what does this have? It's the same similarities of everything else that the DOJ. Remember, we've been talking about how corrupt they are?
Yep.
Obviously, the Twitter files were very damaging to DOJ and the FBI. And whoa, lo and behold, there's suddenly an investigation open on the day that the Twitter files come out. None of this is a coincidence. And by the way, just so the viewers know, if you don't know Matt Taibbi, this is not a conservative. He's not going to vote for somebody like me or a Republican. This is a very liberal journalist who just happened to do what? How everything goes back to the Russia hoax. He called the Russia hoax a hoax back in 16 and 17, and he's been basically completely removed from the mainstream media.
Yeah, a lot happening at the IRS. That was a Saturday. It was Christmas Eve. So many, irregularities, and also what's going on with the whistleblowers, which we're watching very well coming forward. Let's talk about, while we still have you here, though, Twitter and Ron DeSantis were in the headlines this week. But today, DeSantis getting some headlines for his speech in Orlando. He's speaking about parental rights and education, of course, a big issue for him. But you look, Devin, there's his schedule. He is heading to 3 states in 4 days. Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, of course, the most important early voting states. He's calling it the Great American Comeback Tour. Now, talking also about the money his campaign says he's raised since the very glitchy start to his campaign. He says, Brian Griffin says they raised $8.2 million in the first 24 hours. So obviously Trump's way ahead in the polls. He has obviously, got a lot of catch up here to do. But your reaction to how DeSantis has to now perform in those states and the money that he's generated so quickly after that glitch.
Yeah, look, just putting my kind of political analyst hat on, this is a very steep hill to climb for anyone because Donald Trump has created the largest political movement in history. And, remember, it's going to be, the devil's always in the details. So $8 million, I mean, I wouldn't say that that's a large amount of money. That doesn't show groundswell support. But you're ultimately going to have to look at where did the $8 million come from? And once you can analyze that, now we won't be able to analyze that for a few months, but if it was, $8 million is not a lot of money depending on, what size the donations were. And I think that goes back to what I was saying, the RNC, the Senate committee, the Republicans National Committee, the Congressional Committee, they have to have Donald Trump at the top of the ticket in order to be able to raise money. I mean, it's just a fact, because small dollar donors, which really the Republican Party now lies on, they rely on the working people in this country, they support the America First movement.
Right.
They support Donald Trump. That's the only way you're going to raise money for all of these committees. Wall Street and the billionaires can only do so much. At the end of the day, you have to have the working men and women of this country, and that's what Trump has built since 2016. And as the polls show, he still has those people.
That's right. Those rallies are very strategically placed around America to get those folks on the Trump train. Great to see you,
Very
Devin
well
Nunes.
attended.
We appreciate you.
Have a good weekend.
Thanks,
Great to be with
Devin. You too.